Hello, beautiful souls. I'm going to see how much space this phone can hold, huh? So, this is going to be a DM check in reading. It's been a long time since I've done one, especially with karmic energies. And something just feels right about it. Ooh, these cards are flying too. So, I'm going to do this with black screen because my camera in the dark on this new phone likes to be blurry. And that's okay, you know. There's a certain amount of trust required for the energies that we're going through, both just in the twin flame journey in general and with all the retrograde energies coming up, especially with the technology stuff. And so I'm just going to go ahead and pull. Now, I will say, especially with the channeled love letter that I just did, there's definitely that song Kiss from the Rose in the Grave coming out. Kiss from the rose on the grave. And I'm really feeling these strong energies from DMs that's like there's a couple of different energies. One is like this kind of raging against the dying of the light sort of thing, except for it's more like raging against the light. And it's one of those like DMs are in a space to where, at least the ones I'm channeling right now, to where they've gotten themselves into such karmic tangles that in order to get out, they're really gonna have to face themselves. Is definitely the man in the mirror, the lady of the lake test, to where it's like they're in a space to where there is no way to continue to keep hiding things. There's no way to keep staying in the dark night of the soul, so to speak. They've got to come up out of the light. Like spirit is not allowing it. And with all these retrogrades going on, like there's a lot of secrets coming out. There's a lot of stuff coming up that's really making them face their own reflection. And this time it's one of those to where the energy that I'm getting, even before really pulling many cards, like I've got a couple that have jumped out, but the energy that I'm getting is that karmics have caught DMs in their own lies, and DMs have caught karmics in their lies too. But this is one of those to where DM catches karmic in a lie, and they might confront them, but they've been in their codependent phase. They've been in their, oh, it could be worse, or I don't want to be alone, or things like that. And they too have also been manipulative. Like we don't end up in karmic entanglements unless we also have those energies going on. And keep that in mind. Like, twin flame or not twin flame, we're all pieces. We're karmic, we're divine femme, we're divine masculine, we're DX, we're all those spaces. And until you get to a space of harmony within yourself and your DM gets into space of harmony with themselves, you are karmic to each other too. It kind of goes all different ways. So make sure that you definitely check yourself for these energies as well, because being connected with that energy, like you're always going to be connected with your twin flame, but you can definitely tell when you're alchemizing and doing better energy work, because either they're connecting with you, or while they're doing their karmic stuff or their pirate stuff, as I call it, you're not connected, which can be challenging and painful emotionally, but it also is a good thing because it means you're finding wholeness, you're doing your healing, right? In any case, what I'm really sensing is that like karmics have gotten to a space to where they're getting themselves caught in so many different lies and webs and things that they've done, and so they're irate, they're vengeful, they're all over the place, and they've been pushing DMs to do even more and trying to create more distractions, bringing in more people, more kids, more family, more entanglements, doing things of that, and trying to keep DMs feeling like they're powerless, they're stuck, and if they so much as blink without permission, that they're going to pay for it. And because DMs fell into their own dark night of soul while entangled with these karmics, they don't, their spirit is bringing them to a space where they've got to learn to have faith in spirit, and they've got to learn to stand in their integrity, even if they haven't been doing it before. And I feel like that energy is coming up, but right now is a check-in with where they're at, and it's still kind of that build up phase, that preliminary phase, if you will. And it feels like part of that build up is that like DMs have been kind of in this, one foot in, one foot out energy, where one foot is like out the door, like do 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 out my back door, right? And they're getting bratty, and they're getting, they're standing up for themselves in various different spaces, and they're getting their own knocks in on things. And then on the other side, they're still kind of, they're afraid to leave the karmic situation, either, they're to face consequences that the karmics are threatening, to be alone, to be doing, their healing. That a lot of them have probably entangled up financially, in commitments. Some of them got married or signed leases or did things like that. And karmics right now are trying to up the ante. They've been doing everything that they can to try to like build up supplies to be able to continue to suck and pull out of more and more spaces and more people and more, to get more from divine masculines. But part of what spirit's doing is putting divine masculines in the situation to where there isn't anything more to give. And you might be able to recognize this feminine if you're in a space to where you're also facing situations where, like, I mean, you can give more, but you're just like, you might feel like you're pedaling your wheels and you're not getting anywhere. You're pushing that gas pedal and it's not going, right? Like, take that as a sign that a lot of the energy is also connected to your DM. So like, if you've been doing your best to get through different situations and it still feels like you're spinning your wheels, that might actually be a good sign, because twin flames are connected in such a way that we each go through each situation, and or we each go through reflective situations that the other is going through. And so, you got to keep that faith that heavy times, squishy times, swirly times, tough times, they do get better, and there is a point and purpose to them. And just find your gratitude, find your space of inner peace and faith, no matter what is going on around you, no matter how dark it might look, and recognize that in terms of your twin flame journey, if there is a force in this universe strong enough to keep you down, it's not a karmic. It's your twin flame, and they're not keeping you down. They're trying to call in that good energy. And it's not something that you need to block. It's not something that you need to, I want to say, like, don't surrender to it in terms of like giving up, but surrender to it in terms of rest. Take care of yourself. Do what you can to boldly go where nobody has gone before, for lack of a better way to put it. Um, in any case, getting back to this energy, the card that I'm putting is as the title, the cover photo is the King of Oysters in reverse, which is the King of Pentacles in reverse. And rabbits might be significant for you. And what I'm getting the sense of from that, like, that was the first card that jumped out. I was like, Spirit, give me the energy of this, give me the theme of this for these DMs that have been pestering me to get on and do this video. And that came out. And like, King of Pentacles reversed is like, contracts are falling apart, housing is falling apart, and I'm getting a big strong sense that these DMs are ones that, they got into commitments with apartments and houses and real estate and business, and they may have gotten into some sort of shady family business. It could be abusing the foster care system. It could be, um, you know shady deliveries coming to the house and back and forth. It could be, back alley deals that were done in the home, that others have evidence on them for. There's all sorts of things that they could have gotten into. And like a lot of people in this world, they could have justified, well, I have to do this to be able to keep this house. I have to do this to be able to keep my reputation. I have to do this to feed the kids. I have to do this for this reason or that reason. And now they're, spirits laying it out all before them and saying, did you have to do that? How might life have gone if you had made better arrangements, made better choices? Like, how might life have been? Because now, they're looking at their reflection and they don't like what they see. And then on top of that, the karmics are upset because they don't have more money and they don't have more credit, and they don't have, there's no, like, they can try to get them into higher level agreements, but they've already been sucked dry, for lack of a better way to put it. And this is typically when karmics get into discard, but these karmics seem like they, especially if they've tried really hard to put a lot of energy into taking you down. Here's something you got to recognize. If you got karmics that are trying to put energy into keeping you down or riling you up, or driving you nuts or taking stuff that you have or copying you or gossiping about you, well, let's just put it this way: they pay the karmic price for that, especially when you do your best to stay in your integrity. Because you too will also, you get the karmic price and the karmic reward for, doing your best to stay in positive energy, to alchemize those moments when you feel frustrated or afraid or lonely or things like that. And for every time that you make good choices and they make bad choices, the universe corrects that energy. I've always been a fan of saying, like, do not do return to sender spells. Do not sit there and be in a space of, like, oh, I hope that they get this energy, or sending it back to them. For one thing, you don't need to. The universe takes care of that. That's part of the universal laws. That's why you want to make sure that you're minding your P's and Q's in terms of your energy. And secondarily, like, there are bigger and more important things to focus on, like you, like your self-love, like your kids, your job, your wholeness and healing and inner peace. And the more energy that you can put into that, the more energy that you can put into being a light in the world, the more divine protection you get, the more divine upliftment you get, the better you feel. And the more the universe naturally corrects all the energy from, karmics trying to take or block or do things with you. And so, what I'm looking at, even without looking at the cards, is that karmics are pressing divine masculines, like, why did you say this, and I know that you really have feelings there, and you're not going to stay with me anyways, and you're trying to ruin this for me, and you're not giving enough, and you're doing this and you're doing that. And this is happening, it feels like, it feels like the divine feminines on this wavelength are in a mixed energy themselves, of, like, telling their DMs, like, you know what, I love you and you need to get your shit together. And this is the reality of it. I'm not babying you anymore. And, like, if you resonate with that, definitely put a comment below. Like, you're not in a state where you're like, oh my gosh, look at all this bad they've done, I hate them and they're wrong. But you're definitely in a state to where the reality of things is the reality of things. And, you're walking your own road, and you're what is it, hoeing your own row, but you're also not abandoning your DM, and you're not waiting for them, and you're in a space of, like, look, we're connected. It is what it is, and I love it, and I love you, and you need to get your shit together. And some of you might also be in some, of your own moody spaces where you're also saying some things that are making DMs go, like, does she actually love me? Is she there for me? But, if you've done your healing work, you're also holding healthy boundaries, which may be confusing to DMs, especially ones who are really entangled with, karmics that have allowed them to get away with bad behavior, have encouraged it even, so that they have something on them, and been around various people that are like, oh no, no, let me be nice to you and keep your secrets for you and do this stuff for you so that you'll do things for me. And they're not used to having a divine feminine around them who's like, no, I'm going to be me no matter what you do, and I'm going to stand in my honor and my integrity, and you know like it or don't like it, I'm on my journey, you're on your journey, and I know that you'll line up with me and I'll line up with you when the moment is right. They're not used to that. They're also not used to having someone unconditionally love them and also tell them like it is. And it feels like these karmics are in a space to where it's like every time they take a step in a direction that is using people, things fall apart. There's various investigations going on, there's various other people getting involved, and it's like, especially with so much retrograde energy, especially with Saturn, and then Uranus is about to go retrograde too, and that's going to be like the earth shakes, the change maker, the, like, my cards, and the cards in my hand are like trying to throw out more even, so, like, they're like, there's a lot of things happening. And so, if you're in a space of, like, no contact or limited contact, or your DMs, like, pushing you away or even trying to vilify you, know that there are so many different things going on that spirit is protecting you from, especially if there are more things pulling your focus back onto what you're doing. right? Get focused on that. In any case, I'm going to go ahead and get to the cards because there's a message I wanted to give, but it's still like every time I get to it, we circle back to other things. So, aside from that King of Oysters reversed, I'm also seeing we've got the Ace of Swords. It's the Ace of Flamingos in this one. And they came out, I feel like they were sideways. So it's kind of a mixture of energies. There was likely a recent restart on communication between you and DM, and you may have put your foot down about things anyways. Or you may have said, you know what, you could be nice and you can be kind, and I'm still going to hold healthy boundaries. I'm still going to communicate the truth, because the Ace of Swords is about that. It's like you're cutting away at things that are dishonest. You're focused on logic, you're focused on things like that, and it feels like that's what they're also trying to do. But we've got the Two of Swords behind that, which means that they feel blind in it, you feel blind in it, and there's likely been another block in communication. Now this one does feel like it's a little bit shorter, and it feels like with the Ace and the Two in there that we're looking at like the Three of Swords coming up. And it's one of those, there's a lot of betrayal energy. There's a lot of third party energy. There's breakups, divorces, cheating, things like that going on. And DMs may be so riled up and so in their hearts about things that, some of them are not sure who's the karmic, who's the femme, or who they are, things like that. And part of this is spirit's intentional energy to kind of break up the karmic situations. Now, let's look at what other cards want to come out and what they want to say. Let's see if I can get my head more in the game. Yeah, so we've got, look at that, the Knight of Oysters, so the Knight of Pentacles. So there's some sort of seeds that were planted, um, but they did, it's like they didn't take root yet. So there may have been some attempt to get some sort of contract going that would have been financially viable, but it required dishonesty. It required, using people, children, businesses, things like that. And now DMs are in a space to where they're like, they want to get on they want to get on their horse and go plant something that would actually be, more viable. Let's see if we can get more information about that Knight of Pentacles there, that Knight of Oysters. Because he looks like he's waiting to hear about something. It could be hearing about something that could free him from the situation. And it also feels like it's kind of connected to like taking on more burdens, like putting more on the horse. It almost feels like some of these DMs are kind of in an energy where they're like secretly, intentionally trying to overburden the situation that they're in, to where, yeah, we've got the Two of Hats, which is the Two of Cups in here. So they're like, wow, what a funny image. What I kind of got from this king leading over to the Queen of Hearts in here is like, here, take more. Let's take more. Instead of them trying to convince the karmics to be, to be good. Hang on. Wow. Yeah, so it's kind of one of those, if you didn't notice that loud car coming through, it feels like DMs are kind of in this energy. We got the four of cups reversed. Like they're in this energy of, rather than trying to convince karmics, like, no, we should do better, we should be better, we should think about what people think. Instead, DMs are kind of leaning into this energy of, no, indulge yourself more. No, like, go ahead and do that thing. Like, because they have a feeling that if they encourage that the karmics will knock over their own cups. That Four of Cups is like three of the, or well, yeah, what is it, three of the cups are sitting there and the fourth cup is up in the air, right? They're not seeing that things could get better, and so DMs are kind of in this bratty, resentful energy of like, you know what, you're gonna take from me anyway, so why don't you go ahead and just take more, just deplete me. Now we've got, oh yeah, the Seven of Peppermills, which is a Seven of Wands. So like, they feel like they've got some sort of higher ground. And they also feel like they're battling like everyone left and right. They may even be battling with you. You know, you may have stood your ground and they may take that as some personal offense. Or, you know, wands are typically communication, so there may have been some sort of argument between the two of you, you know, and different things like that. And then we've got temperance here, which is, you know, it's 14. That's that alchemy energy. So they're also kind of starting to learn how to be a little more patient in situations like that. And I'm kind of getting this energy that DMs are like in this space of trying to like let the well run dry, for lack of a better way to put it. Like, you know, go ahead and let the karmics overindulge themselves. That King of Pentacles in reverse can definitely be overindulgence. You know, it's like, I want this too, and I want that. And if you're going to use me, I want to get this out of it and that out of it. And let's see if we can get some more clarification on what's going on here. You know what I'm kind of seeing is that some of these DMs are, they feel like they might be facing some jail time coming up, or some like really big legal issues, and they're just kind of in this space of like, you know what, let's go big or go home kind of thing, you know. Oh, we got some more. What do we got here? We got the star reversed. So, you know, a lot of them thought that what they had with the karmic was kind of a wish manifested, and they're noticing that it's not. And then we've got the wheel of fortune. So what it feels like is they're like intentionally spinning that wheel of fortune. Yep. And then we got the devil card on there, which is also earth sign energy, Capricorn energy. You know, like they're like, you know what, let's just go ahead and indulge. Like, they're kind of leaning into their shadowy side of things, of like, you know what, let's do it. You want me to be this bad guy? I'll be the bad guy, kind of thing. And, you know, and that's funny. As I'm saying that, I get the King of Hats, which is the King of Cups in reverse, which very much is that energy of like, you know what, I'm so emotional. And with that card too, and with the energy of the Three of Swords in reverse, I'm really getting the sense that, you know, DMs have also, you know, they're tired of being cheated on. They're tired of being emotional. They're tired of fighting with you. They're tired of feeling like a bad man, a bad father, all of this stuff. And like, even when they do exactly what the karmics want them to do, or it feels like even when they, you know, they try to do a little bit of what everybody wants, everybody's looking at them as the bad guy. And a lot of them are facing their own karma for things that they've said in the past, ways they've been emotionally manipulative. And that goes extra strongly if your DM is a, you know, a strong water sign or has a lot of water sign placements. And we've got, yeah, the Four of Swords reversed, which they keep trying to take rest and they can't. Like, these karmics are pretty skilled at making sure that DMs never get enough time alone or enough time to rest that they can actually think about things. It's also, I'm getting a strong sense that these karmics keep a tight lock on their communication. You know, they make sure that they know about everything everywhere at all times so that they can control the narrative of various different things. And then we've got the Nine of Oysters reverse. Yeah, they're trying to make sure that codependence remains. Like, they're trying to make sure that even if they get caught in their own stuff, that DMs feel like, you know, they'd be worthless without them, or they couldn't do anything, or that they would take everything from them. And yep, there we go. Four of Cups in reverse again. DMs are kind of in this space to where, like, they're like, you know what, take it. Just take it all. Take it all. And you know what? I want this too, and I want that. And I know damn well you're not going to give me any of it. You might promise it to me, but you're not going to give it to me. You've never given it to me before. Like, you know, and I really feel like there's strongly a lot of like between arguments happening, and then also kind of this like pretending to go along with it kind of thing, and then just doing what they feel like anyways. I'm also getting the sense that some of these DMs might have some side chicks going on, that they're just kind of in this space of like, you know what, screw it. And we got the Five of Pentacles reversed. Like, yeah, they're tired of feeling left out in the cold. And we got the Six of Pentacles in reverse too. Kind of that matchstick girl situation where it's like, you know what, I might go out in the process of lighting this up, but I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go big or go home. I'm gonna just like let it light up. I'm just doing it, you know. Let's check in and see what are the karmics plans here? What are they attempting to do? Thank you, Spirit, for information on this. Ooh, oh, I got a whole bunch of cards there. Let's see what we got here. The Queen of Peppermills. Yeah, they're trying to be the Queen of Wands. They may be trying to use social media to gain where they weren't before. We got the Two of Swords. Actually, you know what's funny? I'm getting the sense that these karmics, like they can use social media and they have in the past, but it's actually more that they're trying to use the gossip mill. They're trying to use phones, group texts, things like that. And they're trying to create blockages, more blockages in communication. They're trying to, yeah, Page of Hats, which is Page of Cups. They're using children and ambiguity and like undefined situations to try to continue to keep communication confusing. Yep, the Knight of Hats in reverse. They're definitely blocking DM from being able to like fully connect with their emotions. We've got the Seven of Swords, which is thievery. Like, they're definitely, they've got some schemes and plans going on. It's kind of reversed coyote energy. It's the not good kind of energy with that. We got Page of Oysters again. So more page energy, more children trying to use children to get money. We got the Sun in reverse trying to create confusion, and the High Priestess in reverse. So a fair amount of them are also getting. They probably have been using spell work, but if nothing else, that spell work could simply be gossiping, trying to plant seeds, and when that doesn't work, they get into threats, they get into bullying, they get into intimidation, power plays, things like that. And how's that going for them? Let's see. Oh, just one card pops out. The Hanged Man. Isn't that funny? I almost tried to show it to the camera. It's like, and in this deck, the Alice in Wonderland deck, it's a lobster being hung upside down. So they're finding themselves stalled no matter which direction that they go when they try to do that stuff. Let's see. You know what I'm gonna ask before we end this? What's a good focus for us divine feminines while all this stuff is happening? Like, what's something that feels good for our hearts to know? Because that feels like something important. The Queen of Hats in reverse, the Queen of Cups. Feels like that energy of like don't fully let go of your rose-colored glasses, but also, acknowledge reality for where it is, and also recognize not to be afraid of endings or perceived endings. Like, get in touch with your emotions, your inner peace. Find some quiet space where you can sit and just be yourself, and don't panic about what's going on in the world. You're already on higher ground. You've already got the wings. You've already got the stuff. Like, the stuff that's happening around you, around us, is not indicative of how you are inside, and acknowledge, you've also had your karmic moments. We've got the King of Peppermills, which is the King of Wands, the Magician upright, and the Five of Flamingos reversed, which is the Five of Swords. And you know what? I'm really getting this, like, I almost want to cry with it. It feels like, hold on to your faith, hold on to your, I want to say strength, but you don't need to be strong anymore. Just recognize everything that's been taken from you will be returned, and it'll be better than you imagine. And you're going to be in a space where you're able to look out in the world and say, I did it, and I manifested beauty in this world, and I was able to do it holding healthy boundaries and having strong integrity and having grace and mercy and belief in magic and goodness and love. Because really, we wouldn't be here if we didn't really believe in love, would we? All right, y'all. Well, thank you for bearing with me. I know it's been a while since I've done a reading, and this one was probably all sorts of all over the place. So I know that for those of you that needed to hear something that I had to say, you'll connect with it when you need to.